The world only exists as a dream in my consciousness. Whatever happens, happens to you, by you, through you. You are the creator, enjoyer, and destroyer of all you perceive. You are the maker of the world in which you live. You alone can change it or unmake it. The world appears to you so overwhelmingly real because you think of it all the time. Cease thinking of it, and it will dissolve into thin mist. There is only one mistake you are making. You take the inner for the outer, and the outer for the inner. What is in you, you take to be outside you, and what is outside you, you take to be in you. The mind and feelings are external, but you take them to be intimate. You believe the world to be objective, while it is entirely a projection of your psyche. This is the basic confusion. There is only one self appearing as many. This helping people is mere imagination. In truth, you do not help others because there are no others. In reality, there are no others, and by helping yourself, you help everybody else. In reality, there are no others, and by helping others, you help everybody else. You are lonely as a person. Your real being, you are the whole. All is you and yours. There is nobody else. This is a fact. You yourself are God, the supreme reality. You are God, but you do not know it. The real is simple, open, clear and kind, beautiful and joyous. It is completely free of contradictions. It is ever new, ever fresh, endlessly creative. Being and non-being, life and death, all distinctions merge in it. After all, what do you really want? Not perfection. You are already perfect. What you seek is to express in action what you are. For this you have a body and a mind. Take them in hand and make them serve you. Just like in a cinema, all is light, so does consciousness become the vast world. Look closely and you will see that all the names and forms are but transitory waves on the ocean of consciousness, that only consciousness can said to be, not its transformations. In all the immensity of consciousness, a light appears, a tiny point that moves rapidly and traces shapes, thoughts, and feelings, concepts and ideas like the pen writing on paper, and the ink that leaves a trace is memory. The world has only as much power over you as you give it. Rebel, go beyond duality. We love variety, the play of pain and pleasure. We are fascinated by contrasts. For this, we need the opposites and their apparent separation. We enjoy them for a time, and then we get tired and crave for the peace and silence of pure being. The way of self-realization. Where's the need of changing anything? The mind is changing anyhow all the time. Look at your mind dispassionately. This is enough to calm it. When it is quiet, you can go beyond it. Do not keep it busy all the time. Stop it and just be. If you give it rest, it will settle down and recover its purity and strength. Constant thinking makes it decay. Nothing you do will change you, for you need no change. You may change your mind or your body, but it is always something external to you that has changed, not yourself. Why bother at all to change? Realize once for all that neither your body nor your mind, nor even your consciousness is yourself, and stand alone in your true nature beyond consciousness and unconsciousness. No effort can take you there, only the clarity of understanding. Don't try to reform yourself, just see the futility of all change. The changeful keeps on changing while the changeless is waiting. Do not expect the change to take you to the changeless. It can never happen. Only when the very idea of changing is seen as false and abandoned, the changeless can come into its own. If you are earnest, you will find that in the end, you will get fed up with roaming and regret the waste of energy and time. To find yourself, you need not take a single step. But there is a precondition, earnestness now. To depend on time to solve our problems is self-delusion. The future, left to itself, merely repeats the past. Change can only happen now, never in the future. Once you realize that the body depends on the mind, and the mind on consciousness, and consciousness on awareness, and not the other way around, your question about waiting for self-realization till you die is answered. It is not that you must be free from the I am the body idea first, and then realize the self. It is definitely the other way around. You cling to the false because you do not know the true. Earnestness, not perfection, is a precondition of self-realization. Virtues and powers come with realization, not before. Earnestness is not a yearning for the fruits of one's endeavors. It is an expression of an inner shift of interest away from the false, the unessential, the personal. Your first task is to see the sorrow in you and around you. Your next, to long intensely for liberation. The very intensity of longing will guide you. No need, no other guide. You need no other guide. Just as every drop of the ocean carries the taste of the ocean, so does every moment carry the taste of eternity. Definitions and descriptions have their place as useful incentives for further search, but you must go beyond them into what is undefinable and indescribable, except in negative terms. To deal with things, knowledge of things is needed. To deal with people, you need insight, sympathy. To deal with yourself, you need nothing but what you are, conscious being, and don't stray away from yourself. As long as you are engrossed in the world, you are unable to know yourself. To know yourself, turn away your attention from the world and turn it within. Most of the people vegetate, but do not live. They merely gather experiences and enrich their memory, but experience is the denial of reality, which is neither sensory nor conceptual, neither of the body nor of the mind, though it includes and transcends them both. Unless you know yourself well, how can you know another? And when you know yourself, you are the other. There is nothing in the world that you cannot know when you know yourself. Thinking yourself to be the body, you know the world as a collection of material things. When you know yourself as a center of consciousness, the world appears as the ocean of the mind. When you know yourself as you are in reality, you know the world as yourself. Don't talk of means, there are no means. What you see as false dissolves. It is the very nature of illusion to dissolve on investigation. Investigate, that is all. You cannot destroy the false, for you are creating it all the time. Withdraw from it, ignore it, go beyond, and it will cease to be. To know that you are neither in the body nor in the mind, though aware of both, is already self-knowledge. So many words you have learnt, so many you have spoken. You know everything, but you do not know yourself. For the self is not known through words, only direct insight will reveal it. Look within, search within. The cause of suffering is self-identification with the limited. Sensations as such, however strong, do not cause suffering. It is the mind, bewildered by wrong ideas, addicted to thinking, I am this, I am that fears loss and craves gain and suffers when frustrated. The world is but the surface of the mind, and the mind is infinite. What we call thoughts are just ripples in the mind. When the mind is quiet, it reflects reality. When it is motionless, through and through, it dissolves and the one reality remains. What is going on is a projection of your mind. A weak mind cannot control its own projections. Be aware, therefore, of your mind and its projections. You cannot control what you do not know. On the other hand, knowledge gives power. In practice, it is very simple. To control yourself, know yourself. Understand your own mind and its hold on you will snap. The mind misunderstands. Misunderstanding is its very nature. Right understanding is the only remedy. Moods are in the mind and do not matter. Go within, go beyond. Cease being fascinated by the content of your consciousness. When you reach the deep layers of your true being, you will find that the mind's surface play affects you very little. What was never lost can never be found. Your very search for safety and joy keeps you away from them. Stop searching, cease losing. The disease is simple and the remedy equally simple. It is your mind only that makes you insecure and unhappy. Anticipation makes you insecure, memory unhappy. Stop misusing your mind and all will be well with you. You need not set it right, it will set itself right, as soon as you give up all concern with the past and the future, and live entirely in the now. What prevents you from knowing yourself as all and beyond all is the mind based on memory. It has power over you as long as you trust it. Don't struggle with it, just disregard it. Deprived of attention, it will slow down and reveal the mechanism of its working. Once you know its nature and purpose, you will not allow it to create imaginary problems. What problems can there be which the mind did not create? Life and death do not create problems. Pains and pleasures come and go, experienced and forgotten. It is the memory and anticipation that create problems of attainment or avoidance, colored by like and dislike. How can an unsteady mind make itself steady? Of course it cannot. It is the nature of the mind to roam about. All you can do is shift the focus of consciousness beyond the mind. See everything as a dream, as a show, as a film. Don't be afraid of a world you yourself have created. Cease from looking for happiness and reality in a dream, and you will wake up. This is the mystery of imagination, that it seems to be so real. You may be celibate or married, a monk or a family man. That is not the point. Are you a slave of your imagination, or are you not? Whatever decision you take, whatever work you do, it will be invariably based on imagination, on assumptions parading as facts. When the body is born, all kinds of things happen to it, and you take part in them because you take yourself to be the body. You are like the man in the cinema house laughing and crying with the picture, though knowing fully well that he is all the time in his seat and the picture is but a play of light. It is enough to shift attention from the screen to oneself to break the spell. When the body dies, the kind of life you live now, succession of physical and mental events, comes to an end. It can end even now, without waiting for the death of a body. It is enough to shift attention to the self and keep it there. All happens as if there is a mysterious power that creates and moves everything. Realization that you are not the mover, only the observer, and you will be at peace. Of course not, that power is not separate from you, but you must begin by being the dispassionate observer. Then only will you realize your full being as the universal lover and actor. As long as you are enmeshed in the tribulations of a particular personality, you can see nothing beyond it. Stop hurting yourself and others. Stop suffering. Wake up. When you begin to question your dream, awakening will not be far away. It, the dream, appears to be beginningless, but it, in fact, is only now. From moment to moment, you are renewing it. Once you have seen that you are dreaming, you shall wake up. But you do not see because you want the dream to continue. A day will come when you will long for the ending of the dream, with all your heart and mind, and be willing to pay the price. The price will be dispassion and detachment, the loss of interest in the dream itself. Wanting it to continue is not inevitable. Seeing clearly your condition, your very clarity will release you. Pain and pleasure are the crests and valleys in the ocean of bliss, Ananda. Deep down, there is utter fullness. Freedom from one means freedom from the both. If you do not care for pleasure, you will not be afraid of pain, but there is happiness, which is neither, which is completely beyond. The very desire to live is the messenger of death, as the longing to be happy is the outline of sorrow. The world is an ocean of pain and fear, of anxiety and despair. Pleasures are like the fishes, few and swift, rarely come, quickly gone. A man of low intelligence believes against all evidence that he is an exception and that the world owes him happiness. But the world cannot give what it does not have, unreal to the core. It is of no use for real happiness. It cannot be otherwise. We seek the real because we are unhappy with the unreal. Happiness is our real nature, and we shall never rest until we find it. You are like a child with a lollipop in its mouth. You may feel happy for a moment by being totally self-centered. But it is enough to have a good look at human faces to perceive the universality of suffering. Even your own happiness is so vulnerable and short-lived, at the mercy of a bank crash or a stomach ulcer. It is just a moment of respite, a mere gap between two sorrows. Real happiness is not vulnerable because it does not depend on circumstances. Weak desires can be removed by introspection and meditation, but strong, deep-rooted ones must be fulfilled and their fruits, sweet or bitter, tasted. Whenever a thought or emotion of fear or desire comes to your mind, just turn away from it. I'm not talking of suppression, just refuse attention. It has nothing to do with effort, just turn away. Just look between the thoughts rather than at the thoughts. When you happen to walk in a crowd, you do not fight every man you meet. When you fight, you invite a fight. But when you do not resist, you meet no resistance. When you refuse to play the game, you are out of it. These moments of inner quiet will burn out all obstacles without fail. Don't doubt its efficacy. Try it. Watch your thoughts as you watch the street traffic. People come and go. You register without response. It may not be easy in the beginning, but with some practice you will find that your mind can function on many levels at the same time, and you can be aware of them all. It is only when you have a vested interest in any particular level that your attention gets caught in it and you black out on other levels. First of all, establish a constant contact with yourself. Be with yourself all the time. Into self-awareness all blessings flow. Begin as a center of observation, deliberate cognizance, and grow into a center of love and action. I am is a tiny seed which will grow into a mighty tree, quite naturally without a trace of effort. Just keep in mind the feeling I am, merge in it, till your mind and feeling become one. By repeated attempts you will stumble on the right balance of attention and affection, and your mind will be firmly established in the thought feeling I am. Whatever you think, say or do, this sense of immutable and affectionate being remains as the ever-present background of the mind. Relax and watch the I am. Reality is just behind it. Keep quiet, keep silent. It will emerge, or rather, it will take you in. When I say, remember I am all the time, I mean come back to it repeatedly. Hold on to the sense I am to the exclusion of everything else. When thus the mind becomes completely silent, it shines with a new light and vibrates with a new knowledge. You need only to hold on to the I am. Nothing dies. The body is just imagined. There is no such thing.